Late night coders, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm gonna show you another cool thing that we can do with ThreeJS and GSAP's scroll trigger. So right now, as you can see, I have this screen here. As I scroll, this camera is getting closer to my object, and then we also rotate this object here. We've done it in a previous video, so feel free to go check that out. But what we're gonna do in this one, and it's new, we're gonna use ThreeJS's audio player. Now, as I scroll down and the camera gets closer to the object, or the object gets closer to the camera, we're gonna hear that the music is gonna increase the sound, the volume, and also you will see some cool effects on this sphere here, kind of like a music player where you see like bars going up and down. So we're gonna do that. So let me shut up and let you guys hear what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna change the volume on my laptop, so all that's gonna change is this object and camera getting closer to each other. So let's see it. There you go, that's one thing, and we're gonna do the same thing with particles as well. And this is how it's gonna look like with particles. So let's take a look. Okay, before we get started, the first thing I will, as always, put a link in the description box below this video to the final repo for this video that we are doing here, so you can get the code from there. Secondly, I have an announcement, and some of you guys have asked me about the code, the source code for my portfolio, and now it's available. I have a link on my website here. As you can see, that you can request access to the code, and I will definitely help you guys to get it. This is also a way that you guys can support me, which I really appreciate. If you have any questions or concerns, please drop a comment in the comment box below this video. And that's about it. Also, if you're new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn the notification bell on, so that you're the first to know when I publish new videos. Alright, let's get started. Okay, so we're gonna start with this here, what we have done in some of the previous videos. I've just basically made a few small changes. So we have like this sphere here, and then we have these particles here. As I scroll down, you can see like the camera is moving, getting closer and closer to the object. Right now, this turn sound on and off doesn't do anything because we haven't done anything. So if I click on it, it's just gonna turn to off, and then you see now the sound is turned on. If I click on it, it's gonna go back to on, and this also says the sound is turned off. So this is where we are starting. If you don't know how I'm like doing all these things here with the scrolling and camera movement, go back and check out one of my previous videos. You can find them on my channel. Also, I'll put links throughout this video on like the top right corner of the video. And all the links that I mentioned during this video, they will also be mentioned in the description box below this video as well. So this is the starting state of our project. So let's go ahead and make changes to our code. Okay, let's do a quick review of the code, what I have right now. So as you've seen in my previous videos, I'm using the Webpack boilerplate that I've explained to you guys at the very beginning of my YouTube channel creation. So now here we have a few folders. What I'm working on right now, the file that I'm working on right now is under app directory, which is where I have all my JavaScript files. And then I have canvas here. Under canvas I have my ThreeJS stuff, and under ThreeJS index.js is basically what I have here, and that's what's controlling this 3JS page here. So we have our constructor here, we have our scene, camera, renderer, and I've got like these the button that I have with the sound on and off, just changing the inner HTML as I click, and then play with this basically boolean here, make it true or false as I click on that. And then I have my create planet and create stars. Planet is basically this circle, and then I have stars, which is this these like particles here. And as I scroll down, we've talked about these all before, so go check out the videos in my channel. And we are also still keeping the locomotive scroll stuff that we did in one of the most recent videos, so they're all here. And then eventually we have this update function where I'm like rendering and taking care of all the things that need to happen in each frame. So that's that. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to comment this create stars out for now, and then I will need to comment this material stars material here as well, because I only want to keep the planet. We'll work on the sphere here first, and then we'll move on to the particles. The last thing I need to do is basically move this object back to the center. This object is the planet. So with that, I think we should be ready to start coding the new stuff. There we go, we have this planet, and the scrolling is also works. So what we're gonna use is the ThreeJS's audio class. So we're basically going to copy a similar code to this here to our project, and then we're gonna work on that. So let's get going. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a new function here in my constructor, and I'm going to call it setup sound. So we are in the constructor here. Like I said, I'm going to use mostly this code here from the audio 3JS, and so let's create this function. I'm gonna create it right under this create stars function here. So let's do that right now. I have set up sound here, then I have my listener, which is a 3 audio listener, and then I'm gonna add that to camera here. I'm going to define my sound, which is a 3.audio, using the listener that we defined earlier. And finally I need to add the audio loader, which will load the sound that I have, which is under the static folder, sounds folder, sound.mp3. I have that sound here, and then I have the other properties also set here. Volume is at 1, and the loop is set to true. You can play with the volume here. They have 0.5 here, just like play with the number. And finally I need to bind this, so I'm gonna save this right now. And the one thing that we haven't done and we need to do is start and stop the sound as I click on this button. And basically the first time I click on it, it should start and then stop it. So you might see this warning in the dev tools in the console here. Was not allowed to start. You need to have like a button or something to start audio. So if you like start it on your page load, this is not gonna work. At least on Chrome, they have some new policies there. Somebody like the user, the visitor has to click on a button to start it. So that's why I have added this button up here. And where we are handling that click is here, right here. So if the sound is on, that means if I click on it, I want it to stop right here, and we do that using this .sound.stop. And then if it's the sound is off, which is in this else statement here, I'm gonna play it once I click that button. So let's do that, and let's go back to our website here. You might still see that warning, it's fine. And the key is that you need to have a button to click to start and stop the sound. So I'm gonna start it. Just please be mindful of your volume. It might be a little loud right now, so I'm just gonna start the sound. And now I clicked on it, and now is off. So as I click on and then off, the sound is playing and stopping. Obviously I'm using play and stop, so it's gonna start over when I click to start. So right now start and then off. So that's how you do it for just like playing a normal sound. We haven't done anything with scrolling or like sound. The volume is gonna be the same, so I'm gonna again play it. As I scroll up and down, the sound, the volume is still the same. It's just like that the music just progressed more, and that was the music, not the volume. Nothing changed there. Okay, so this is the first part. Okay, now in order to connect the volume to the location of this sphere here, what we're gonna do, we're gonna use ThreeJS's positional audio. So basically we are going to use this object, and then we're adding the sound to this object, to the object that we have, so that it's kind of like attached to it. So let's do that. All we need to do is to change this audio over here to positional audio, and also we need to add this set ref distance here. As you can see here, like it's set to 20. I'm just starting with a number. We have to play with it and fix it, because our camera right now, as you can see over here, is at like a Z of 50 units. So we're gonna play with that number, with this 24, so we can basically have a better change in volume as we scroll up and down. So the last thing we need to do is to add the sound to our object. So right here we're doing this, and now I'm gonna save it. And again, please make sure to adjust your volume. I'm just gonna keep scrolling, and I'll do that after I turn the sound on. So let's do it now. Okay, so with this one, we didn't really see much of a difference. It seems like this 24 is probably too much. We can decrease it. Let's do 5 over here. And there is documents on what this set ref distance is. I'll put a link in the description box below. So it's basically a value representing the reference distance for reducing volume as the audio source moves further from the listener. So that's exactly what we're doing here. The audio source is our sphere here, and as we get closer to the camera gets closer to it, or this gets closer to camera, we expect the volume to increase. So I'm gonna again start it, so please adjust your sound volume here. So let's do it. Now I'm scrolling, so now we can see that it actually is working. So this is far now, the volume is down, and as I scroll down, the volume increases. So I'm not doing anything with the laptop volume. All I did was just scrolling. You can again play more with it. I'm just gonna leave it at 1. And so when it starts far away, it's gonna be like really like quiet. So let's do that. See the sound, the volume increases. Now as I scroll back up, it gets further from the camera and the volume is really low now. Okay, so that's the next thing we needed to know. The last thing we need to do is to put like some kind of effect on the sphere as like the volume, as the sound is playing, as the music is playing. We need to see some cool effects on the sphere, and that's what we're gonna do next. So right now we need to get access to the audio data, some like frequency of the music or things like that. And there is this audio analyzer from ThreeJS again, which gives us access to, for example, the average frequency of the music. So that's exactly what we're gonna use, and then we'll use this average frequency to feed that value to our materials basically. So we have this shader material here. Again, this is something we've done in one of my previous videos, so go check that out. And this uhover state is gonna be helpful here. If we take a quick look over here, it's basically a value that we multiply by the sine and cosine of the time and the random variable, and then that gives us the xyz position of the sphere here, the different vertices of our sphere. So the way we do that is back in our setup sound here, we're going to add the analyzer, and basically I'm just copying the code from here. We have the audio analyzer with our sound and a FFT size. We can check the documentation here. The FFT size is basically a value that represents the window size in samples that is used when performing the FFT. So what we need here, we can actually console.log this value out, but we need to do that inside our update function right here. So I'm going to console.log the get average frequency of the analyzer here. So if I save it right now and then go back to our website, once it reloads, you can see right now we have 0 because no video, no music is playing. So again, I'm going to start playing the music, so please adjust your volume. So let's do it. As you can see, this number is changing like in the 0 to like 20, 25 round, the range right now. And as I scroll and the volume increases, you can see that this number is also increasing. And as soon as I turn it off, again back to 0. So that's a value we're gonna use right now. And so again, we can use that as the uhover state for our object. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add the average frequency here, basically assign that value to the uhover state value for my material, and let's see what happens now. As we start playing, we can actually get rid of this console.log also. So let me save again, and then we go back here, and there we are. So sound is off, nothing is happening. As I scroll, I'm about to turn the sound on again, so please adjust your volume. Now you can see, even like so far away, this is like really like not what's desired. So we need to make adjustments. First thing came to mind is to just divide this frequency by, let's say, 32, which was the FFT size that we had here. So if we do that and then now play it, you can see it's more reasonable right now as I get closer. Still too much maybe as we get closer. So again, this also depends on your like the sound that you're playing, so you need to adjust these numbers. I think I've played with these numbers, and 2048, which is the default value as they say here. These numbers need to be, by the way, powers of 2 starting from 32 to 32,768. So I'm gonna do the 2048, which is the default value, and then again played with this number here, and 128 if we divide the frequency. Looks good with, again, this sound that I have, this mp3 that I have here. So you guys feel free to adjust those numbers based on the music that you have here. So let's get started. As I go closer, you can see like this kind of looks more reasonable now, right? Okay, cool. So that's most of what we needed to do. This was for the sphere, and we can basically do the same for our particles as well, and that's what I'm gonna do next. For the particles, all we need to do is actually go in our code, and we can comment this planet out, and then comment this create stars. So now we have stars there, and then over here inside our setup sound, instead of adding the sound to our object, which was our sphere, now we need to add it to our stars. So instead of object, we're gonna have stars, and then the next thing we need to do, we have this GSAP timeline scroll trigger thing that we are rotating our sphere here. So I'm gonna comment that out as well, since we don't have our sphere anymore. And lastly, instead of this material here, we're gonna do the same with star material. So stars material here. So let's do that real quick, and I need to comment these out as well. So same process, just changing all the material and like objects to the particles that we have, and then I'm gonna save it now. Instead of the sphere, we're gonna have the our star here, our particles here, so you can see the particles, and I start the sound, and you can see that the particles are also moving. So the logic was exactly the same. This time I'm dividing in by 32. Again, play with it. In the fragment, in the vertex GLSL file, you can change the value for the point size here, like change it to 2 maybe if the particle size that you see here is too big. And then that's also something you can play with. Right now, as you can see, the particles are smaller, so as I start playing the sound, maybe this is better. Alright, that was what I had for you guys today. Thanks a lot for watching the video. Please make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Again, the source code for my website is available now. You can ask for access. Thanks a lot, everyone, and I'll talk to you soon.